Hello students, welcome to online maths classroom. Today we are going to start up with integration. In part 1 of this topic, we will take basic concepts and solutions of NCERT exercise 1.1. So let us start with it. Integrals. Let us start with the introduction to this topic. Differential calculus is centered on the concept of derivative. The original motivation for this topic derivative, it was the problem of defining tangent lines to the graphs of functions and calculating the slope of such lines. Whereas integral calculus is motivated by the problem of defining and calculating the area of region bounded by the graph of functions. Okay. If the function f is differentiable in an interval I, that is, its derivative f dash exists at each point of the interval, then a natural question arises that given f dash at each point of I, can we determine the function? Means if sometimes, as you know in derivative, what we did? We from the function we calculated f dash means the derivative. So the question that arises is if sometimes derivative is given, can we search out what was the original function, right? The functions that could possibly have given functions as a derivative are called as antiderivatives or primitives of the function. Further, the formula that gives all the antiderivatives is called as indefinite integral of the function, and such process of finding antiderivatives is called as the process of integration. Such type of problems arise in many practical situations. For instance, if we know the instantaneous velocity of an object at any instant, then there arises a natural question that can we determine the position of the object at any time, right? So there are several such practical and theoretical situations where process of integration is involved. And the development of integral calculus arises out of the efforts of solving the problems of following types, right? The problem of finding a function whenever its derivative is given, okay? Getting the function from its derivative. And the problem of finding the area bounded by the graph of a function under certain conditions, okay? So there are two types of problems. These lead to two forms of integrals, okay? These two problems lead to two forms of integrals. One is your indefinite and the other one is definite integrals, which together constitute the topic integral calculus. Now there is a common connection which known as the fundamental theorem of calculus between indefinite and definite integral, okay, which makes the definite integral as a practical tool for science and engineering, and the definite integral is also used to solve many interesting problems from various disciplines like economics, finance and probability. In this chapter, we shall confine ourselves to the study of indefinite and definite integrals and their elementary properties, including some techniques of integration, okay? So very first basic thing is that we are going to start integration as an inverse process of differentiation, okay? Then we'll learn about the rules of integration, okay? So integration is the inverse process of differentiation, right? It is the inverse process of differentiation. Instead of differentiating a function, we are given the derivative now in this case, okay, and we are asked to find its primitive. Primitive means the original function, okay? Such process is called integration, or what we say as antiderivative or anti-differentiation, right? As we know, ddx of sin x is cos x, ddx of your x cubed by 3 will be 1 by 3 into 3x squared, that will give you x square. ddx of ex is ex. Now in equation number 1, we observe the function cos x is derived function of sin x. So we say sin x is your antiderivative or integral of cos x, right? Means if we want to cancel this, we want to take the antiderivative like this. So what will be the antiderivative of this cos x? It will be your sin x. Similarly, for x square, it will be x cubed by 3, and for ex, it will be e raised to power x. And ddx of sin x plus c. Now see from here that what is the difference between an indefinite integral or a definite integral, right? We need to firstly understand. Like if we take ddx of sin x, then the answer is cos x. Even if we take the ddx of sin x plus c, then also it is cos x, right? If we take ddx of x cube, then also it is x square. If we take ddx of x cube by 3 plus c, then also it is x square. If we take ddx of ex, it is ex. But if we take ddx of ex plus c, it is also e raised to power x. Okay, what is happening to this constant? As the rule says, we need to take the derivative individually, like of sin x and then of c, right? But the derivative of constant is 0. That's why the derivative of all sin x plus 5, sin x plus c, sin x plus k, all will be just cos x. Okay, so the antiderivative or integrals of above cited functions are not unique. Okay, because for cos x it will be sin x plus c, for that simple your cos x it will be sin x. So what should we take, right? So actually there exist infinitely many antiderivatives of each of these functions, which can be obtained by choosing the arbitrary c from the set of real number. Okay, that's why what we do, c is customarily referred to as arbitrary constant, and it is the parameter by varying which one gets different antiderivatives or integrals of given function. Okay, so if there is a function capital F such that ddx of fx is fx for all x belonging to I, then for this arbitrary real number c, that is called as constant of integration, your ddx of fx plus c equal to fx, okay, for x belongs to I, right? Therefore, your f plus c, where c belongs to R, is denoting the family of antiderivatives of f, right? So functions with same derivative often differ by the constant. Okay, to show it, let g and h be two functions having same derivative on interval I, right? So f is g minus h, and which will be defined as fx equal to gx minus hx for all x belonging to I. Okay, so df by dx will be your f dash. Okay, f dash, which is g dash minus h dash, giving f dash x as g dash x minus h dash x for all x belong to I, right? Or f dash x equal to 0 for all x belonging to I by hypothesis, that is rate of change of f with respect to x is 0 on I, and hence f is constant. Now in view of the above remark, what is happening? It is justified to infer the family f plus c belong to R provides all possible antiderivatives of the function. So we introduce a new symbol. This is the symbol of integral fx dx, which will represent the entire class of antiderivatives read as indefinite integral of f with respect to x. Indefinite integral of f with respect to x. Okay, and symbolically we write that integral, like instead of writing like this, we write it as integral of c. Integral of fx dx is equal to this fx plus c. Okay, so that means integral is antiderivative and it is cancelling this derivative. So given that dy by dx equal to fx, we write y is equal to integral of fx dx. Okay, now let us see some important terminology, phrases, okay, symbols that are associated with integration. What is the meaning of this integral fx? It means integral of f with respect to x. Okay, now fx in integral fx dx is integrand, the one whose integral is to be found. X is called as the variable of integration. X in your fx is variable of integration. Integrate means to find the integral. An integral of f, it is a function f such that whose derivative is fx. Okay, and integration is the process of finding integral, and constant of integration is any real number c considered as the constant function called as constant of integration. Now let us start with few already known formulae for the derivatives of many important functions. From these formulae we can write down immediately the corresponding formulae for the integrals of these functions. Okay, so as listed below, so let us see how derivative and their integrals or antiderivatives are connected, means how they are inverse process of each other. So see, this is the power rule if we apply, that is ddx of x raised to power n plus 1 upon n plus 1 will be your 1 upon n plus 1 into, use power rule for this, that is n plus 1 times x raised to power n. So n plus 1 cancelled and I get xn. Okay, so that means the integral of this xn is equal to x raised to power this one whose derivative we were finding. Okay, x raised to power n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus c for n not equal to minus 1. ddx of x was 1. Now d dx, this your derivative of 1. Okay, it means 1 dx, that is equal to x plus c. The c we are introducing for constant of integration in case of indefinite integral. Okay, and when we will be having limits to this integral, that will become definite integral, and in that case the c will be fixed. Okay, now d dx of sin x is cos x, so that means integral of cos x is sin x plus c. d dx of minus cos x is sin x, that means integral of sin x is minus cos x plus c. Be careful with the sign. Okay, d dx of sin x will be minus cos x plus c. d dx of tan x is secant square x, so integral of secant square x is tan x plus c. d dx of minus cot x is cosecant square x, so cosecant square x integral is minus cot x plus c. Secant x is having d dx as secant x tan x, so integral secant x tan x is secant x plus c. d dx of minus cosecant x is cosecant x cot x, so integral of cosecant x cot x is minus cosecant x plus c. Now d dx of sin inverse x is 1 upon root 1 minus x square, so that means integral of this 1 upon root 1 minus x square is sin inverse x plus c. Now d dx of minus cos inverse x is 1 upon root 1 minus x square, so that means d dx, this dx upon this same function. Okay, if in terms of sin inverse, it can be written as sin inverse x, or it will become minus cos inverse x plus c. And d dx of tan inverse x is 1 upon 1 plus x square, so integral of 1 upon 1 plus x square is tan inverse x plus c. Similarly, d dx of minus cot inverse x is 1 upon 1 plus x square, so integral of 1 upon 1 plus x square is minus cot inverse x plus c. Now d dx of secant inverse x is 1 upon x root x square minus 1. So integral of 1 upon x root x square minus 1 is secant inverse x plus c, or minus cosecant inverse x plus c. Okay, because there is only difference of minus sign. d dx of ex is ex, so integral of ex is also ex plus c. d dx of log x is 1 upon x, so 1 upon x is having integral as log mod x plus c. Okay, and d dx of your a raised to power x log a is a raised to power x, so integral of a raised to power x dx will be a raised to power x log upon log a plus c. Okay, so let us start with the geometrical interpretation of indefinite integrals. Okay, so let fx is a function 2x. You know, then integral of fx dx will be your x square plus c. How? It will be like 2, and you know x will be, the power rule says it is x raised to power 1 plus 1 upon 1 plus 1 plus c. Okay, so this is your 2 and 2. This is cancelled, so I get it as x square plus c. Now for different values of c, we get different integrals, but these integrals are very similar geometrically. Like y equal to x square plus c, c is arbitrary constant. It represents a family of integral by assigning different values to c. Okay, so we get different members of this family, and which today means together, which together will constitute the indefinite integral. Okay, now each integral represents a parabola. As you can see, it's a quadratic polynomial along with its axis along y-axis. Okay, and for c equal to 0, what we get? We get a parabola y equal to x square, right, with vertex at origin. Okay, and the curve y equal to x square plus 1 means it's again by shifting the parabola y equal to x square 1 unit along y-axis in positive direction, means you know that it's when you will put x as 0, you will get y as 1. So now the origin will be at 0 1. Okay, and similarly if it is x square minus 1, so in this case the parabola will be having vertex when x is 0, y is minus 1, so it will be 0 minus 1. Okay, all these cases like this. Now let us consider the intersection of all these parabolas by a line x equal to a, right? Now a is taken as positive, and the same is true when this a is negative, right? Now if the line x equal to a intersect the parabolas, these y equal to x square plus 1, x square plus 2, or y minus x square minus 1, y equal to x square minus 2 at these points say, so respectively, then dy by dx at these points equals to a, right? It will be equaling to a. Okay, this indicates that tangents to the curves at these points are parallel. Okay, so integral of 2x dx is x square plus c is equal to f of c x c. What does it imply? See, you can see the graphs that the tangents to all these curves at y equal to this, for c belonging to r, at the point of intersection of the curves by the line x equal to a, that is a belonging to r, are parallel. Now see, all these are the parabolas, right? The parabolas y equal to x square, this one is y equal to x square, okay? Then it is y equal to x square plus 1. You can see, observe, x square plus 2, x cube plus 3, like this, okay? So what will happen if you will draw the tangents, okay? So can you observe all these tangents are parallel, okay? Further, the following equation, integral fx dx equal to fx plus c equal to y, represent a family of curves, okay? And the different values of c will correspond to different members of this family, and these members can be obtained by shifting any one of the curves parallel to itself, right? So this is all about the geometrical interpretation of indefinite integral. Now let us start with some properties of indefinite integral. Now in this subsection we will derive some properties, okay? And the process of differentiation and integration are inverse of each other. So let us start with it. ddx of integral fx dx equal to fx implies that integral of f dash x dx equal to fx plus c, where c is arbitrary constant. So how could we prove it? How will we be proving it? So see, let capital F is the antiderivative of the function f. So ddx of your fx is, this capital Fx is fx, okay? F is the antiderivative. Now what is happening to integral? If I am taking the integral fx dx equal to f of x plus c, okay? Now take your ddx both sides. So ddx of this complete will be equal to ddx of this complete, okay? So that is, you can separate now ddx of fx and ddx of c will be 0. And what is the ddx of fx? It is given as fx, so it is like fx here, right? So similarly we note that f dash x is ddx of fx, right? And therefore integral of f dash x dx is equal to fx plus c, where c is some arbitrary constant of integration. Two indefinite integrals with same derivative lead to the same family of curves, and so they are equivalent. So see, f and g be two functions such that ddx of integral fx equal to ddx of integral gx dx, okay? So bring this to other side, we get ddx common and it becomes integral fx dx minus integral gx dx equal to 0, okay? So let it put it as c, where c is any real number, right? So what will be there? We will find that integral fx dx is equal to integral gx dx plus c, okay? If this is taken as c. So the family of curves, your integral fx dx plus c1 belongs to R, and this integral gx dx plus c2, where c2 belongs to R, they are both identical, and in this sense both these integrals are equal. Dx plus c2, where c2 belongs to R, are expressed by writing integral fx dx equal to gx dx without mentioning the parameter, okay? Okay, the parameter, okay? You have not to mention the parameter again and again. Number 3 is integral fx plus gx dx is equal to integral fx plus integral gx, means you can separately take their integrals as we can do in derivatives. So like by property 1, ddx of fx plus gx equal to fx plus gx, and ddx of this integral fx plus integral gx, that is equal to ddx of this integral fx ddx of integral gx, and it is equal to fx plus gx. So that's why we can separate the sum of two functions integrated together as the integral taken aloof, okay? Means separate integrals, right? Means you can take the integral of all the functions separately, okay? Number 4 is for any real number k times integral fx dx equal to your, means k is inside, so k constant will come outside, so it is integral fx dx. And similarly by using properties 1 and 2 you can prove. Then it says that, say we can generalize that if there are a finite number of functions are there with real numbers k1 k2 so on so up to kn, then this integral can have the integral like, means you can take the your real numbers outside and then take the integral of the function, okay? So what are our observations? We see that f is an antiderivative of f, then so f plus c, where c is any arbitrary constant. Thus if we know the antiderivative f of a function f, then we can write down the infinite number of antiderivatives of f by adding any constant to the function expressed by fx plus c for c belonging to R, okay? In applications, it is often necessary to satisfy an additional condition which then determines a specific value of c, giving unique antiderivative of the given function. Okay. Sometimes f is not expressible in terms of elementary functions like polynomial, logarithmic, exponential, trigonometric and inverse, etc. So we are therefore blocked by finding integral fx dx. For example, it is not possible to find integral of this, okay, by inspection, since we do not find a function whose derivative is e raised to power minus x square. When the variable of integration is denoted by variable other than x, then integral formulae are modified accordingly. For example, integral y raised to power 4 dy will be y raised to power 4 plus 1 upon 4 plus 1 plus c, that is 1 upon 5, y raised to power 5 plus c. Okay. So in derivative, the power reduces. In integral, it produces. Okay. It reduces, and their denominator is also having that power. See it carefully. Okay. Now what is the comparison between differentiation and integration? Both are operations on functions. Both satisfy the property of linearity. That means d dx of k1 times f1x plus k2 times f2x means you can take the constants outside, right? And then differentiate the function. Similarly for integration. We have already seen that all functions are not differentiable. Similarly, all functions are also not integrable. We will learn more about non-differentiable functions and non-integrable functions in higher classes. Okay. The derivative of a function which when exists is a unique function, and integral of function is not so. However, they are unique up to n additive constant, that is any two integrals of a function differ by a constant. Okay. When a polynomial function p is differentiated, the result is a polynomial whose degree is 1 less than the degree of p. Whereas when a polynomial function p is integrated, the result is a polynomial whose degree is 1 more than that of p. We can speak of derivative at a point. We never speak of integral at a point. Okay. We speak of integral of a function over an interval on which the integral is defined, as we will see in section 7.7. Okay. The derivative of a function has a geometrical meaning, namely slope of tangent to the corresponding curve at a point. Similarly, your indefinite integral of a function represents geometrically family of curves placed parallel to each other, as we have done in example. Okay, having parallel tangents at the point of intersection of the curves of family with the lines orthogonal or perpendicular to the axis represented variable of integration. Derivative is used for finding some physical quantities like the velocity of moving particle when the distance traveled at any time t is known. Similarly, integral is used to calculate the distance traversed, okay, or traversed when the velocity at time t is known. Okay. And differentiation is a process involving limits. So integration is also, right, we will see when we will study our definite integral. And the process of differentiation and integration are inverse of each other, right? Exercise 7.1. Find an antiderivative or integral of the following functions by method of inspection. Okay, in exercises 1 to 5. So let us start. Method of inspection means you have to use the concept of derivatives. Okay. So sine 2x is there. You know, I'm going to find it by inspection method. So we know t dx of cos 2x is your minus sine 2x. Okay. Minus 2 sine 2x. Okay. ddx of cos 2x is minus sine 2x, and your ddx of 2x is 2. So it is minus 2 sine 2x. Now divide both sides by minus 2. I'll get it as minus half ddx of cos 2x is sine 2x. Okay. So take this minus half inside. So it is ddx of minus half cos 2x equal to sine 2x. So that means by definition an integral or antiderivative of sine 2x is minus half cos 2x. Okay. Again cos 3x, right? So we know ddx of sine 3x is 3 cos 3x. So again divide by 3. I'll get it as ddx of 1 by 3 sine 3x after arranging this 1 by 3 inside is equal to cos 3x. So the antiderivative of cos 3x is 1 by 3 sine 3x. Okay. E raised to power 2x, the derivative is 2e 2x. So again divide by half. I'll get it as ddx of half e raised to power 2x is e raised to power 2x. So the antiderivative of e2x is e raised to power 2x divided by half. Now number 4 is your ax plus b whole square, right? So ax plus b whole square, right? So you know the antiderivative of ax plus b whole square. I'll go for the one more power, okay? Because I have to compute the derivative of one greater power. So I'll take d dx of ax plus b whole cube, which is equal to 3 times ax plus b whole square, and then d dx of ax plus b, d dx of ax plus b, right? So what is d dx of ax plus b? It is your a. It is your a, right? So it becomes your 3 times power rule we are using, ax plus b whole square into a, okay? Now divide by 1 by 3a. So I'll get it as your 1 by 3a d dx of ax plus b, your whole cube is equal to ax plus b whole square, and take it inside the bracket. So d dx of 1 by 3a ax plus b whole cube equal to ax plus b whole square, right? So in examination, it is not required that you follow this method or something, okay? You have to choose for yourself, okay? Just we are discussing as it is asked in an exercise like this. So sine 2x minus 4e raised to power 3x. So directly what will be the integral? Okay, let's discuss what will be the integral. Integral of your sine 2x will be your minus, okay, cos, because integral of sine is minus cos. So it is minus cos 2x divided by, okay, what is the d dx of 2x? It is 2. Okay, in derivative you used to multiply, in integral you will divide by it, okay, minus 4, okay. What is the integral of e raised to power 3x? E raised to power 3x is having, e raised to power x is having the same integral, okay, and you have to divide by the d dx. d dx of 3x is 3, so you have to divide by 3 also, right? Okay, and plus c definitely, because the constant of integration is required in case of indefinite integral, okay? So this is how by the method of inspection you can cover it, okay? But generally methods are not required. You can just directly integrate. Evaluate the following integrals from 6 to 11. So let us see now. 4e raised to power 3x plus 1 dx. So you know I can break integral 4e raised to power 3x dx plus 1 dx. So what is the derivative of e raised to power ax? Like it is e raised to power ax divided by d dx of ax, that is a, and 1 dx is your x. So it becomes your 4 e raised to power 3x by 3 plus it is x and plus c, constant of integration. Number 7 is, for number 7, the product rule is not like this in integration, right? So it's better you open it, take the bracket inside, means open the terms and take it them inside the bracket. So it becomes x square minus x square by x square, that is x square minus 1. Now using power rule, you know power rule is x raised to power n dx is xn plus 1 upon n plus 1, right? So it will become your x cube by 3 and it is your minus x and plus c. This ax square plus bx plus c dx. So again you can open all the integrals. So it will become, a is constant, so outside. So it will become like ax cube by 3 bx square by 2 plus c x, okay, plus cx. Ax square by 2 plus bx square by 2 plus cx and plus c1, where c1 is the constant of integration, okay. So c is used here, that's why c1 is taken. For this one, it will become, separate them, it becomes 2x cube by 3, okay, plus e raised to power x is e raised to power x plus c, okay. For this one, okay, now again here it is suggested that you should open the bracket, okay, open the bracket using a minus b whole square. So this becomes a simple function like this, and out separation it becomes x dx plus half 1 by x dx minus 2 dx. So x is x square by 2, 1 by x, you remember 1 by x is log mod x, okay, the formula we discussed, and minus 2x, okay, because it is 2 outside and 1 dx is minus 2x, and plus c, the constant of integral. Next is, like here you know that it is having it is like a rational function, x cube plus 5x square minus 4 upon x square, right? So we are not thinking about the quotient rules, okay, it is not like derivative. So again separate the terms, break the numerator and separate the terms. So it is x cube upon x square plus 5x square upon x square minus 4 upon x square. So what do you get? It is, you get x plus 5 minus 4x raised to power minus 2. Okay, so instead of taking the, if the power is more than 1, then it's better to take the this your variable power to numerator. So it becomes x raised to power 1 plus 5 dx minus 4x minus 2. So it becomes your x square by 2. This is your 5 into 1 dx is x, and here you will use power rule, so it is minus 4 x raised to power minus 2 plus 1 upon minus 2 plus 1 plus c. So it is like this. This is the required answer. Again in number 12, you have to break the numerator. So it is x cube by x half, 3x upon x half, 4 upon x half. So which on arrangement and opening, because you need to, if the power is just x, so it will be log mod. Okay, but if the power is in case it is 1 upon x, otherwise you need to take all the powers to the numerator. And here, as you know that all the x's are to be brought together, so it's better suggested to take the power to the numerator. Okay, now x raised to power 5 by 2 after power rule will be x raised to power 5 by 2 upon 5 plus 1 upon 5 by 2 plus 1, and 3 x raised to power half plus 1 upon half plus 1. Okay, like this. Okay, and it is plus 4 x raised to power minus half plus 1 upon minus half plus 1. So it becomes your like this. Okay, now arrange these denominators like 2 by 7 x raised to power 7 by 2 plus 2x raised to power 3 by 2 plus 8x raised to power half plus c. Number 13 is again, now see this. Here you cannot split the numerator like this, but see, search for the factors. You can see, if I'll associate these two, I can take x square common and I can break the term into factors x minus 1 into x square plus 1, and this will get cancelled and my function is simple now, and the integral is x cube by 3 plus x plus c. Okay, number 14 can be done in two ways. Okay, it can be done in two ways. So let's work out for both the ways so that you develop a proper understanding. Okay, first thing is, it's a sort of equation which is of the form linear under root quadratic. Okay, otherwise, as we did in your question number 10, I think, where you saw that product is not there, so I'll open the bracket and arrange the powers inside. So it is like this. So it becomes, means multiply inside. So it is x raised to power half minus it is x into x half, that is x raised to power 3 by 2. Okay, now integrate, it is x half plus 1 upon half plus 1 minus x 3 by 2 plus 1 upon 3 by 2 plus 1. Now arrange the denominators, like it is 2 by 3 x raised to power 3 by 2 minus 2 by 5 x raised to power 5 by 2 plus c. So it is also a simple method, but one alternative method is also there, which is your linear under root quadratic, that we will take later on. Okay, so number 15 is again you can see what I need to do is open the powers and multiply inside. Okay, so you get this function, and by using power rule and separating, you can integrate to get this answer. So I think this is very clear. Now 2x minus 3 cos x plus e raised to power x, again break it. What is the integral of 2x? It is 2 into x square by 2. Okay, and it is minus 3 sin x. Okay, don't get confused, as we know that the ddx of cos x is minus sin x. Okay, but here integral of sin x is minus cos x, not integral of cos x is minus sin x. So this confusion is there when we means in the initial stages we apply integration, and ex is ex plus c. This is again simple to integrate, like separate all of them. It will be well like 2x cube by 3. It is minus 3 sin x. So integral of sin is minus cos. So it will be plus 3 cos x, and it is 5 into x raised to power 3 by 2 half plus 1 upon half plus 1, and arrange it to get this answer. Secant x into secant x plus tan x. So remember, product rule is not like here. Okay, that we will study when we will study integration by parts. Okay, here you have to think of multiplying, okay, the brackets. So it becomes secant square x plus secant x tan x. Separate the two integrals. Now integral of secant square x is tan x. Why? Because ddx of tan x is secant square x, and integral of secant x tan x is secant x plus c. 19. Integral secant square x upon cosecant square x. So change it in the form of sine and cos. 1 upon cos square, 1 upon sine square. It becomes tan square x. Now, dear students, this is a very important concept. You know that the integral of secant square x is tan x, okay? But tan square x, when is to be integrated, you have to, okay, remind it, commit it to memory, that similarly cot square will be behaving in this way. For tan square x, you have to open it by the identity, this one. Okay, so it should be opened as secant square x minus 1, as secant square minus tan square equal to 1, right? So it becomes secant square x minus 1, separate the integrals. Secant square x is tan x, 1 is your x, and plus c. Similarly, cot square x, this is also very important, please remember. Okay, cot square x dx will be cosecant square x minus 1. We will open it like this, and it is your cosecant square x dx minus 1 dx, and which is your integral of cosecant square x by the formula is minus cot x, and 1 is your minus x and plus c. Number 20 is again, you have to split the numerator, break the numerator. You get here as 2 upon cos square, that is 2 secant square x, and this becomes your minus 3c secant x tan x. Now break the terms. Secant square is your 2 tan x. This becomes yours. Integral of secant x tan x is secant x only, so it is minus 3 secant x plus c. 21 is choose the correct answer, antiderivative of this. Okay, so no square is there, so we will just take it as your, it is x half plus x raised to power minus half. I told you that whenever x is there, 1 upon x, c is integral is log mod x, but 1 upon x square needs to be taken as x raised to power minus 2. Similarly, 1 upon root x also needs to be taken to the numerator like x raised to power minus half. So use power rule. It is x half plus 1 upon half plus 1 plus x minus half plus 1 upon minus half plus 1. So this is how we can operate to get the answer. So option number C is correct here. 22 is choose the correct answer. If dx of fx is 4x cube minus 3 by x4, okay, such that f2 is 0, then find fx. So again here it is not asked evaluate or integrate something like this. You are asked that derivative is given, search a function. So which process will help you now? It is the integration. So actually you need to integrate this function. Okay. So I'll get the function by means integral and this t dx, they will just remove, integral will remove this. Okay. So it becomes your integral of 4x cube minus 3 by x4. So again, how to integrate? Take 4 outside, integral x cube dx minus 3, and 1 upon x4 should be written as minus 3 x raised to power minus 4. Remember that. Now apply power rule. So it is your x raised to power 4 by 4. So, and 4 and 4 cancel, so it is just x4. And it will be like minus 3 x raised to power minus 4 plus 1 is minus 3 upon minus 4 plus 1. Okay. So this is my function which I get. Right. Now to find c, f2 is given as 0. So f2 means put in place of x2. So f2 is your 16 plus 1 upon 8 plus c. Right. So c is your c plus 129 by 8 is 0. So c will become minus 129 by 8. Right. So put it in your function here. So it becomes x raised to power 4 plus 1 upon x cube minus 129 by 8. Right. So which option is correct? Option number A is correct. So this was your introduction to integration. I hope that all the formula and the connection between integration and differentiation is very clear to you, right? And this is the very first basic exercise where we directly apply the formulae, okay, by opening just the powers or arranging the powers, right? And we apply the direct result. Please learn all the formulas, see the connection between derivatives and integrations, right? And the things will be very clear to you. Okay, observe, practice this topic well, and in next video we'll take methods of substitution. Thank you so much.